afternoon. This is Mario. Yes, beloved, this is Mario. My one and only sister is not available. She is half island and, well, will be because you can expect to hear my voice not just today, but also next week, Wednesday. So let me express my gratitude because it's still another afternoon of information and enlightenment. And I am only too grateful for the opportunity to share information and enlightenment with my beloved audience. So, yes, beloved, we are grateful for the opportunity. And as I think we all know, at least I know for sure, my one and only sister, Mary, better known to us all, me in particular, as Peggy. She is all about education. And so I will do my best to stay within that field of thought and, well, try to talk about things in educational. So it being such a right field because, beloved, like our healthcare, education should be one of the foundational pillars of this and no matter any society. You need to have healthcare, you need to have education, and beloved, this unincorporated territory has failed miserably in both fields, healthcare and education. But education it is. And beloved, let us begin by asking what, at least from my point of view, is a basic, fundamental question, which is what kind of knowledge are we dealing with? Maybe I should ask an introductory question to that one and answer. So what kind of knowledge are we talking about? because I was leaving the impression that there's more than one kind of knowledge. And that's the truth. There is more than one kind of knowledge. Most of us know like 1 + 1 is 2. And if you throw something up in the air, it's going to come back down. Beloved, these are fundamental questions of science. Whether it's the science of mathematics, or the science of physics. Science is natural. It is something that remains the same wherever you might find it in this universe. 1 + 1 will always be 2. And wherever you drop in the air, you could expect that it will come back down. Again, science. But then, beloved, what about our values, our principles, our beliefs? I mean, these aren't sciences. So, what kind of knowledge is this? Whatever we value that is dear to us, whatever principle that we adhere to and commit ourselves to as a principle by which we live. How about belief? Doesn't have to be religion, but whatever you believe in. Beloved, these are things that vary, change, and are different depending on where in the world you come in contact with it. So that what we value here in the Caribbean, Virgin Islands, people somewhere else might not see it the same, and they don't value it at all. They don't consider it to be a value to be upheld at all. And I say that because, beloved, that's immediately excludes it from being a science. Because, like I said earlier, a science is provable and scientific wherever you find it on the planet. 1 + 1 = 2. Don't matter where you are, no matter what language you are communicating and interpreting in, 1 + 1 is still equal to. That's science. You can't say the same thing about a value. Like right here in our unincorporated territory, we value manners. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. No, nothing scientific about that. That's not a science. And as a matter of fact, you can't expect that manners will hold the same value wherever you go. While here we think if somebody doesn't respond when you pass them and you say good morning, you value that so much that if they don't respond, you got a reaction and immediately you want to know what kind of person is that? They pass me, I say morning and they respond. That is proving a point that, beloved, there's nothing scientific about values. Principles fall in the same category. Belief, religion, beloved, these are human traits that differ from one place to the other. Depends on where you are and who you're dealing with as to what they value, what principles they uphold as dear to them. The same thing with belief, what they believe in. And beloved, my point is that there's definitely more than one kind of knowledge. Started out by making clear that science is definitely a kind of knowledge. But then we'll throw in these other things that are more human than natural. You have to ask the question, well, what kind of knowledge are those? And that, beloved, is the point that I'm trying very awkwardly here to make the point that yes, there is science and there is humanity. Science being natural, humanities being, like the word itself, the human knowledge as opposed to scientific knowledge. And human knowledge differs. It varies according to the place and people you're dealing with. And that's why we're talking about values, principles, beliefs. It's like that is the human kind of knowledge. And so it leaves me to be able to conclude and present to you that there are, in fact, two kinds of knowledge. That's right, two kinds of knowledge. There is science, or things that are scientific, that it doesn't matter where you are in the world, it can be proven over and over, always giving you the same result. 1 plus 1 equals 2. Wherever you might happen to find yourself applying the science, because that's what it is. It is scientific knowledge. Well, that is the one kind of knowledge. The other kind is the human, and we call them the humanities. And yes, beloved, you might think that humanities only include things like philosophy, and great writings, scholarly works. These are what we are too often told is what amounts to humanities. But take my word for it, beloved. Nung tago so. Humanities cover all the knowledge that is not scientific. If it is not scientific, it is of human origin. And that's why we call it a humanity. The humanities differ according to where you happen to be looking, what people, what are the environment. And so you ask yourself, well, what are the humanities of these people? Beloved, you could never ask, well, what are the sciences of these people? Because that's the point. No people have possession of a science of their own. Science is universal. That's the point. 1 plus 1 is 2 wherever you go. Science is science everywhere and anywhere. But humanities, on the other hand, are not. It depends on the humanity, where you find them, how do they live. These are things that determine the kind of humanities that a people may live by. And so we come back and I have to say, well, like, hey, to us here in our tiny little unincorporated territory, manners is very important. We give it great importance that people should have manners and be mannerly. And that when people encounter each other, they greet each other. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Nothing scientific about that, but that nonetheless is a humanity that certain people give great importance to. And in our case here, in our little Virgin Islands, yes, that is a humanity that we hold in high esteem, of great importance, and we look forward to people being mannerly. And when greeted with a good morning or a good afternoon, you expect that they would respond with a good morning or good afternoon because that is part of our humanity as a people. There are only too many places who would say, well, that's stupidness. Good morning, good afternoon. What importance is that? So what if you say good morning to me and I say good morning back? So what's the big thing? Well, that's just the thing of it. It's a humanity to some people. And it is a humanity because it is not universal. It's not everywhere that you go that you're going to find manners carrying the same importance as it carries with us here. Because it's a big thing. We're sure. Let me take this guy here. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mario.
And to you, welcome.
Yes, I have a lot of information here I would like to share. But the first question, I have a question for you. Do you know who owns that property behind Rainbow Beach, William and Punch?
When you say behind, give me a direction. You're talking
No,
about
I
north?
mean, sorry,
Pardon me?
east, sorry, east out Rainbow Beach.
Okay, all right. So on all right, Rainbow is on the beach side, and the other side, I think is Prosperity. Prosperity, then William. Well,
Then William. Yeah.
yeah, well, again, I am not certain, although I'll give you the best guess that I could, which is that it was uh, Christensen's uh, that, oh, Lord, what was the lady's first name?
Okay,
Oh,
it's listed right now as William and Punch LLC with an address in Christiansted.
okay, all right,
I believe it was part of.
all right. Well, that's what I was covering right too, because uh, the people, whatever the man name is, growing this sugar cane and thing, uh, had to have bought it from these people because, like, when we knew it as plantation and it was an extremely popular nightclub, and well, just outside of Frederickson. I played a lot of music there in that place. Uh, that was the Christensen's property, along with the same Rainbow Beach. So their property run all the way all to Prosperity, right down to the water.
Okay, let me.
But William and
I'm
Punch
trying.
now, William and Punch are clearly new people that have bought in there, and they use, because that's just it. There's an estate called William, the estate called Punch. So you got William Punch LLC. Uh, this is what they purchase. What they gonna do with it, I don't know. If this is gonna be part of all this distillery thing that's going on with the sugar cane and whatnot. I don't know.
So that 400 and something acres that borders Prosperity and borders the farm owners.
Uh,
You're saying you think that that was bought out also?
I think yes. I cannot confirm it, but I think so.
Okay. Yesterday I've been on your show and I came home and I went on MapGeo and I looked at the aerial photo of the farm with the distillery, and there's a section there that borders. It's on the south side of Prosperity Subdivision Road. Like when you're going into Prosperity Subdivision, on
Yeah.
the right hand side is the farm property, and on the left hand side of the road, which is the north side, is also the farm's property. There is that same discharge in that on both sides of the
Uh,
road,
uh,
and that aerial photo shows that there is water coming from the distillery property, and by land investigation is going under the road and discharging into the distillery land again. And the aerial photo shows that water flowing into what we know as William and Punch. Mario, if you see the amount of water and dead trees, dead trees that look amounts to more than an acre or two. And if I try to scale it to get an idea of how much acreage of dead vegetation where that same rust colored water is discharging.
yeah.
Okay? I report this to DPNR. We had the commissioner and one of the shows this morning lying to the people once, saying that when they test that discharge, it was to normal levels, which I introduced him to the report that came from his department. He said the levels were safe. When the levels show 7,701 as was tested, and the safe level is 70, along with the turbidity, which was high. He said there was no beach advisory. I wasn't able to answer him and say, yes, there is a beach advisory. I have a copy of the beach advisory that was put out and said that beach is not safe for swimming.
Mhm.
Now, I have to hear that the farm is applying for TIPS permit, what that stands for Territorial Pollution Discharge Elimination System. It's a federal permit. How are you applying for a permit and you running an illegal distillery? I don't understand how that's possible.
I don't either. I'm seeing you anticipated the question I was going to ask as you said that. Is that, I mean, that don't make sense.
Well, this is what's happening as per DPNR. They are applying for that permit. And that's a federal permit. I know that for a fact. Remember I worked it.
Yeah.
The other thing I was trying to say, Lord, I'm losing the train of thought.
Well, by the blow, I mean, we're here till 4:30, you know. Get yourself Do you think because we got to take a top of the hour break? We there here for you.
Yeah. I just want to continue that I questioned him on the comprehensive land and water use plan and why when the plan suggests that these zoning issues be taken out of elected officials' hands. And here it is, we have this bill before the elected officials' hand. Instead of them trying to put a budget together, put the program together and get it going, and then address these kind of major zoning issues, again, they're going aboard and try to get this passed in order for prosperity to now become legal.
But again, let me interrupt you. Yes, I'm talking to us at the top of the hour because I'm now realizing this is my one and only sister program. She has guest scheduled for it. They have come in there here now. And all I can say to you is please, hold train, I'm still here till 4:30. And please call me back because I want to get into this whole issue here. And DPNR is to me looking like they're very compromised in the situation, but I need to beg you to work with me so I could deal with this, deal with the schedule appearance here because this is, really Peggy's program that I'm sitting in. But I'm letting you know, for the first time you called a couple weeks ago now, you have a platform, honey. So please, call me back, please.
Yeah, I will.
Okay? All right, we talk. All right, okay, we're going to talk some more then. Poetry. All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. And with that, beloved, we set your whole straight. We will be back. We're back, beloved, and again, I just want to get out of the way and come out because, beloved, I was blessed here, you know, getting an overview of what this is all about, and being that I am really in the way of my one and only sister. Let me get out of her way and allow for Melanin and Burgundy to speak to us. It's not a comedy, beloved. They tell me we're shine,
We shine
not
in,
laugh.
and
Shine.
but between the laugh, it brings shine to your cheek don't go up, your eye don't close down, and your face don't illuminate. But I want to say good afternoon, Marian, to our listening audience. I want to thank Peggy for giving us this opportunity as you sit in
Yeah,
for her
yeah,
while she do what she have to do. Peggy, make sure you have on your jacket up there in the knot.
yeah.
And so, good afternoon again to the listening audience of Virgin Island Public and all of those who are listening to us on whatever platform they're doing that on. Today we are here to bring the message of night to shine. And many people may ask, what's the night to shine?
Yeah.
The night to shine is a night to illuminate the greatness of individuals with disability. We know that we are created in the image in which we are, and everybody is loved and cared for. And but sometimes that we know here in a society where we're more regular people than none, we always find that a certain population, whether it's the disabled, the homeless, we're always pushed to the side. And we have to fit in with everybody else that's regular. But this night is not that night. Regular people have to stand to the side.
That's right.
This is a night for us to illuminate and shine the goodness of individuals with disability. A night for them to be who they want to be, when they want, and how they want to be. This is a night where we provide an avenue and a venue for these individuals to have the time of their life. What we would consider a prom, this is what it is for them. It is a red carpet event, and it's for people, for individuals ages 14 until however long the age could run. It is not specified. It's a night for individuals. It's not a children thing, it's for individuals. And so we know that many people, because we have certain constraint or certain disability in life, we have never had the full participation of much things in our community. And so this is the night for them. So if you were, when you graduated from high school and you didn't participate in your prom because you didn't feel comfortable, well, this is the night to relive it in your zone, your space, however you want. So we invite the entire public with disability to come out on February 13th from 6 p.m. at St. Dunstan's School, where we have a full event, a red carpet event for individuals with disability. It is free of cost. It is sponsored by Tim Tebow Foundation, and it is a night that is illuminated throughout the world for these individuals who may have come into the world a little different than you and I. But this is the night for them to shine. And with that being said, tonight I have the chairperson of the Tim Tebow Foundation here in St. Croix, because it's all over, along with the St. Croix Christian Church, Burgundy Hensley. And I have the pleasure to have her here with me, and she can speak more on what can and can't be done, how you can get involved, volunteerism, and participation. And let me move the mic on to her along with the camera so that she can express more and speak more on these topics. Burgundy, thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you, Mario, for sharing your platform with us this afternoon. And good afternoon, everybody out there listening. We are so excited for Night to Shine and to bring Night to Shine to St. Croix once again. Night to Shine, like Karen was saying, it is a worldwide event that's held on the Friday before Valentine's Day every year. This is year 11 that the Tim Tebow Foundation has been hosting this Night to Shine event. This is year 3 for us here on St. Croix. And worldwide, the event is held at over 800 churches that host it. And there's in over 80 countries, all 50 states. And we are the only island in the territory to host Night to Shine. So this is really special that we can bring this and have this event here in St. Croix. The next closest is actually Florida. There's not even one in Puerto Rico. And otherwise in the Caribbean, there's Guatemala, Belize, Costa Rica. So it's really special that that this event, that we have the opportunity to celebrate and honor those with special needs here and disabilities here in our community. So I love that, you know, Tim Tebow, he talks about that he just puts it so well, that each Night to Shine event has a red carpet. They roll out the red carpet, and that's how they come in, and there's paparazzi, and they just get that celebrity experience, because in our society, red carpet is representative of VIP, and it means significance and excellence and meaning. And on this night, they are the VIPs. They are the ones that are crowned and celebrated. They are the ones that feel important and valued and loved, just absolutely loved for who they are and how they've been created. And so it's an amazing night. We, like Karen said, we have the red carpet event to get started. We have corsages and boutonnieres. There's a hair and makeup station, shoe shine area. There's photo booths. We have the 360 photo booths. Our therapy organizations, Charlie and Dana will be coming again, and Charlie's a little therapy dog. He's got his little tuxedo, and Dana has her little dress, and they walk the red carpet. We also have a special night for the parents and caregivers for those with special needs, because a lot of times they need a break too, and that's their only night off. And to get to see their loved one experience being out on the dance floor and laughing and smiling and having a good time, there's just nothing like it. It truly, Night to Shine truly is the best night of the year. We look so forward to it every year, and it's like February can't get here soon enough, right? They also have a karaoke room, which is always like the place to be. Of course, the dance floor is fantastic. We have DJ Rad Dad, our family-friendly DJ. He's coming back with us again this year. We have glitter tattoos. Of course, Karen is with Collective Collaborations going to help us with the food this year, and we're so thankful to have you on board and participating in that way.
The sensory room.
Yeah, the sensory room as well, for those that maybe just need a cool out time and maybe just to get away from all of the activity. So there's, no matter what the differing ability is, we've got
try to accommodate it to make sure everybody
Definitely.
participate, you know.
And we end the night with Pure Fire, with Kiki and the fire dancing,
Yes.
which is I can't think of a better way to end the evening. And everybody just gathers around and gets to experience just the fire dancing.
Dancing.
Yeah.
But Mario, we're not just asking the individuals who are volunteering to come. We asking the public to come out and see this event, just like we do.
Let me interrupt quickly
Sure.
here, because I don't think I get enough information. And so I'm thinking my beloved artists,
Sure.
how they could find out more about the organization nationally, the Tim Tebow, as you say it,
Foundation
but then here,
locally,
you know, and what is going to make you say this is the third
30
year?
year.
You know, yes, well, how can people?
Well, we
learn
were
more
coming to
about
that,
this?
and we were going to tell them how they could sign up. So you can go on the St. Croix Christian Church website or the Tim Tebow Foundation website, and you can see all the information about that, about how it came about, Tim Tebow reason for doing this, and how we got involved, and where you can come and participate or be a part of that. So it's at the St. Croix Christian Church website or the Tim Tebow Foundation. Also, you can go on the St. Croix Christian Church website and register your child. Because Mario, this is a full rounded thing. If it's a volunteer, we got to do background check on you, because we don't want no mishandling around here now. We have to do background check. We want everybody to be safe, our community and our children. So you go there, you register, you come back, and then we'll get in contact with you. We need people for everything. We need people to the front of the gate with security. We need people inside to help share food. We just need people. But more so, we ask the community to come out and just make it a big festivity and excitement for them, like what we do for high school prom, where they go Buccaneer and everybody else. Come out and let them know that they're special too, Mario. You know, this is a very exciting time. You know, I work with individuals with challenges, and this is Burgundy pulled me into this, and so I'm happy to be here to assist. Number one, it's my community. It is my community, and we have to be involved in what's going on in our community. We must. Not we have, we must. You understand? And I want to make sure that as much children and mothers understand, don't be ashamed. Bring your children out. This is not a place to watch face. This is a place of excitement and illumination and joy. Bring the child up because Mario lived to, Burgundy Cortez. Sometimes this is the first place children smile.
Mm.
Yeah.
This is the first place sometimes children will accept a hug.
Mm.
And so we tell you, bring it out. It's a very good therapeutic area for children to be also.
Mm.
So let them come. We don't care how they come, but if you have challenge in getting close with them, call us. We will help you because we don't want nobody feel less than nobody, Mario.
Mm.
And people in the community will offer. But a little boy need a jacket or a little girl need a dress.
Mm.
Call us. We will make sure that they happen. And so community,
Okay.
we want to thank you. We hope that you participate. Don't forget, it is February 13th at St. Dunstan School, the former St. Dunstan School and the current Montessori School. If anybody knows, by Yellow Board Restaurant, where that was by Orange Grove, or if you understand, it's up the road from Pueblo, heading west. Well, no, heading south, up the road from Pueblo, heading south, like you're going back out to go Sonias, or it's before Pueblo if you're coming into town.
You're going from Pueblo to Cuesta Verde.
Right,
Yeah.
correct. So come out. If you have questions, give them the number, Burgundy, that they can call.
And so you can visit the church website, which is stcroixchristianchurch.com. The church office number is 718-3130. Or you can also visit on our Facebook page as well. All the information is on there, but the registration, whether you're attending or going to volunteer as a buddy or any of all the information is there on the website. But yeah, we'd love to have, we want to reach everybody that has special needs or knows of somebody with disabilities in the community. And we know, even though this is year 3, we've reached a bunch, but we've not reached everybody, and we're not going to stop till we do.
You mentioned disability rights. This is, to the best of my recollection, an office that was directly west of what used to be, I guess, Kmart West. Yes. So how does this Office of Disability Rights fit in here?
Intertwine.
Because I'm really trying to ask is like people West area, William the Light area, and could they just touch base with disability rights there or what?
Well, no, and I'm speaking no. So again, it's the 3rd year for Burgundy. It's my first year with the organization, and as you're quite aware, we haven't been out on the radio and stuff. So with this being in play, we're reaching out for partnership going forward. You know what I'm saying? And that's a good point. Whether if you don't have the availability for a computer or have the way with Ali, figure we could have had an office where they could have gone somebody could assist them. And that's a point well taken, and that's something we have to know. But currently, no, it is just the Tim Tebow Foundation, the church, and the board that's working here. We want to say shout out to Public Works because they're working with us to allow others who couldn't be there with wheelchair and stuff to be able to participate by giving them transportation. So like I said, this year, it's a learning for them, as to how we're going to reach out with this. Tim Tebow takes care of everything, every single thing. And so I think the outreach portion for Burgundy and the group was where they would just come to the different organizations who work with the kids with disability or individuals with disability. But your point is well taken. And this is how we understand how we build, by having conversation and communicating. And so that is very important, not just in the Frederiksted area, but also in the Christiansted area, where we could find a space where these individuals or family could go and be able to have somebody help them to register so that they can be a part of. So thank you for that point, Mario. Yeah, but everybody, we try, and this is why we try to come to the radio at this point. We've been to other radio stations. So again, so we can get the message out. And they can contact me too, 447-7403. If you have any question, you can contact me and I could direct you as to how the individual or the child can participate, whether they need transportation or not. But let me tell you the good thing about this, Mario. Even if we have children coming from St. Thomas, we find a way for them. That's how big and important this is. And we hope that we could start a chapter in St. Thomas. But for now, the kids who are coming from St. Thomas or St. John or Water Island, we will see their way to come here so they could be a part of this exciting time in their life and this special night for them.
And the majority of our honored guests are above high school age. They're of adult age because, like Karen was saying, most of them have not had the opportunity to attend a prom. The first year we hosted, we had a gentleman that was in his 50s that he had never gotten to go to his prom.
That's where I was
so
going.
Yeah, and he
now
had to
is that
wear his
in the
tech.
3 years that, so this is the third year.
Yes.
You know, what has been a mix?
Age, race,
Again,
everything.
Everything.
It's
in
just
terms
been a
of,
mixture. It's just been a
especially
mixture.
the first time.
Yeah.
I would imagine that it would have been quite a original experience.
Yes.
You know,
And I
for
would
the
like to
first
say
time.
our therapy organizations on island have been great partners for us as well, and have really stepped up. And they come and so they buddy. Each honored guest gets paired up with a buddy for the evening to go around. So they've got somebody to go on the dance floor with, somebody to eat with, somebody to do things with, and they have been fantastic and have just jumped in because it's a great night for them too. Because as therapists, they get to see those that they serve every day.
In a
have
different
this-
light.
Whether
Right,
mostly
and to see them dress
male,
up.
female,
It's both.
you know.
A mixture.
whether-
It's a mixture. It's a mixture of everything, Mario, because
Right.
disability ain't got no color, creed, or class.
I know, and that's why
Yes.
I am trying
So it's
to
a
get,
full
to get
mixture,
a peek
peak of the
into this
inside.
first
It's
or
a full-
second time.
It's a full mixture,
It's
Yeah.
Mario.
for our deaf community, our blind community,
Yes.
our wheelchair community. I mean, everybody.
It's a full mixture. So as the year go on, you know, before people thought it was just for children, you know, and then they realize it's for everybody in that environment.
Yeah.
And so it started to grow. So we got people from Kenneth Garden, Lutheran, we got people from all over coming.
Okay.
As long as you meet that one thing, disability, you're welcome. If you are fitting it, we tell you come to.
I'm disabled.
Welcome. Put on your jacket and come. It's a nice night,
I don't
man.
have a jacket.
Okay, come in when you got. You want me to get you a jacket?
I don't need it.
Okay. What's the size?
I'm a chaperone.
And I will chaperone you. Wouldn't you love that? And we dance
I'm
together.
embarrassed already.
Oh, you're blushing.
Should be.
But
It's
no.
exciting.
Yeah, it's an exciting night for them because one parent already reached out to me to ask me if I know of any other boy that's going that need clothes
Yeah.
because she wanted to buy her shoes, a belt, a shirt,
Yeah.
a pants. You know, people are reaching
Yeah.
out. It's an exciting night, Mario.
Yeah.
Our government ain't doing nothing for
Yeah.
the children. They ain't doing for me and you who able, never mind the disabled.
Absolutely.
So if somebody could come and just bring a little joy in their life
Yeah.
for a couple hours, it could last a lifetime and make a change.
True.
It can. And people don't understand the impact a little care does for individual, regardless of where you are.
Yeah.
Support
Yeah.
and care goes a long, long
Yeah.
way. And so we invite the public to participate, come out and see this night to shine, where it illuminates over the world, because remember, this is a worldwide thing. So it shine over,
Uh-huh.
in essence, like the northern light
Sure.
in their life, because this is worldwide.
Okay.
And we're so glad to be the only Caribbean island to be a part of this.
How about that?
How
But say
about
first
that?
like that,
Of course, we always be the first, but then we end up last.
you know.
I don't know why,
Yeah.
but yes, but we
But
go.
it is important if you do want to register or have somebody to attend. They do need to register ahead of time because of the background checks that are necessary and the steps. Not anybody can just come on campus. So, but it's stcourchristianchurch.com. either the church website or the Facebook page that you can find all the registration information, or contact the church office 718-3130. You'll talk directly to me in the church office.
Yeah.
Is the name Amelia Henley Lamont from Philippines?
She's with disability rights.
Was she there for the first one?
No, her mom actually works with me, and so but no, she hasn't been.
Just asking. Good
Right,
people.
because
Good people.
I know
together,
Amelia.
people.
I know Amelia well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the children are my children in school. And daycare. So Mario, Josh, the Caledonians family, WTJX. I mean
We're good.
WSTX, Peggy, Mario. We want to thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you so much.
To share with our community what is taking place for a group that is usually overshadowed. And so this is day and night. Nobody gonna come and jump in and take over. If you ain't coming to join, don't come because it's day and night.
And I'd also like to say we do have partnership opportunities available for businesses in the community that maybe want to help to support this. Like CES got on board with us. They donate our ADA porta potty each and every year since year one. They have been a fantastic partner. We've got restaurants like The Landing that help participate with donating food. Of course, the therapy organizations. At Purifier was donating her fire dancing talent, and so there's opportunities for community organizations and just to get involved as well.
Just be
Right,
involved.
exactly. Right. Whether tangible or monetary donations.
Like you.
as well, so.
This in-kind donation
Yes.
for this half an hour. We want to thank you
Yes,
so
thank you.
much. It doesn't have to be financial.
Yeah.
I had nothing to do with it.
I know
My
you did
one and
not.
only sister,
I know,
you know,
but we
You
say
did
that
great.
instructed me,
we say that
ordered me.
we saying that to Josh.
Yeah.
You did great.
And we want to thank you for being the host and taking Peggy's place. My
Yeah.
teacher would never refuse me.
Mhm.
And
Oh,
so
brother.
he instructed her brother, and he
Yeah.
did well by following the instruction. And I want to
Thank you.
thank you again for having us here, Mr. Moorhead. Thank you so much. Thank you, Josh. Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you
Mhm.
for your time.
And we thank you because
Thank
you're suddenly shining,
Yes.
and it's really, it's a welcome activity in this delusional time.
I try
Oh,
to
yes.
shine for the less fortunate. As you know, I run this homeless program, and I make sure I put them out there. I don't want my people to wear the situation.
The Karen touch is welcome.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Have a good day. Again, thank you so much. It was good seeing
You
you.
made my day.
You made mine too. Have a good day.
Be as well as you look, ladies. We're back. Let's beloved shine. That is the event that they were promoting there for each and everyone with whatever kind of disability. You're invited. So big thing for what was the evening before Valentine, so it's February 13th. Beloved, we started out trying to stick with education. Then we got into matter of environmental damage being done by this sugarcane distillery out Prosperity. We hope to hear more about that. But beloved, we're trying to, well, make a case for humanities being a knowledge form that we don't pay much attention to. Too often we think that this, science is the only kind of knowledge that we have. And when it comes to humanities, well, we don't know how to use it, understand it, much less promote it. Because I, for one, have been, for the longest, trying to enlighten and inform my beloved audience that there is such a thing as the African humanities. And people would have said, I word about African humanities, what is that? But the problem is that we don't understand humanities. Don't realize that we're talking about the other kind of knowledge. Yes, there is scientific knowledge and there is human knowledge. And the scientific knowledge is natural. Like I said, it's there. All you need to do is to discover it. But 1+1 is 2. Wherever you go in the world, the thing is that we understand science being a knowledge, but too often we think that science is the knowledge, the only kind of knowledge. And I'm here to point out to you that no, beloved, we've got the human kind of knowledge, such as I said, the things that we value, the principles that we uphold, and the beliefs that we embrace. All of these are things that add up to the other kind of knowledge. So there's scientific knowledge and there's human knowledge. And that's why, beloved, I think it is so important because else to say other than that. We need to know that there is such a thing as African humanities, which could be said as African way of life. And that's what humanities are. The way people live. And the way people live is generally conditioned by the nature of the environment. You know, were you born and raised in a warm place, a tropical place? Or were you born and raised in a cold place, temperate place? It makes all the difference in the world. And while science would be the same in the tropics as it is in the temperate zone in the north, still 1 + 1 = 2. But the way of life, the values, the principles, the beliefs, what they are in a tropical environment doesn't necessarily follow in a cold environment. And beloved, that is how we come to know that there is such a thing as African humanities. But it is difficult to grasp, it's difficult to comprehend, difficult to assimilate, because as colonial people, previously enslaved people, we were told that we had absolutely no humanities. We were not human beings. We were property, things, objects that belong to somebody else. And so, if you're not human, you're just an object. How in the world could you have humanities? And so, it is really drilled into us as objects, shackled, that we never had any history. That if not for the white nations conquering and enslaving, we would not even have humanities. We had none. We didn't even have science. That's the point. That they would have us to believe that they would really have us to believe that our history began with enslavement. That previous to that, we were just primates like monkeys in the trees. We had no humanity. And so it is a rather difficult concept for us to embrace if it is that we've been told over and over again that we have no history, we have no humanity. So, Mario, what are you talking about with African humanities? We have no such thing. Well, beloved, a very wise man wrote that until Black people are able to make the connection to ancient Egypt, that we are one and the same people, until we're able to make that connection, indeed, our history will be suspended in the air because, beloved, we would then have accepted that our history began with slavery. And most unfortunately, beloved, most unfortunate, we have very little information circulated about Africa and African history before being conquered and enslaved. And that, beloved, is where the African humanities play a major role. It is to learn that, beloved, before the empires of Ghana and Empire of Mali, beloved, we too often were of the opinion that there was nothing before that. That what I'm trying to find out the word to explain is that, beloved, our history began in the mountains of the moon, where you find the source of the Nile River, in the mountains of the moon. And while historians agree that Africans were the first human beings, somehow those first human beings disappeared. And for the thousands of years between our our appearance in the mountains and the moon, and conquest and enslavement. Five, 600 years ago, somehow Africans didn't exist. And that's a point that I would hope, I would want for many of my beloved audience to consider, to think deeply about the fact that, well, true, that's a good point, you know. If you agree that Africans were the first human beings, how is it that you can give us a story of what became of these first human beings from the time, like 100,000 years ago, in the mountains and the moon, to just, what, 500 years ago, conquest and enslavement. What happened to all those other thousands of years? And that's one good way of getting rid of the African humanities. My beloved, that is something that they will not acknowledge, because it refutes their concept of us being an inferior people, and they being the superior ones who domesticated and civilized us as a people. So you tell me, beloved, what is our history from the mountains and the moon 100,000 years ago to our conquest and enslavement 500 years ago? That's a lot of time, beloved. And the question is, where was the African people? Where were we for those tens of thousands of years? And I can't accept that you're telling me that, well, we never existed. How could we never have existed when you acknowledge already that, yes, Africans were the first human beings? That is a fact, an accepted fact. The question we're asking is like, well, what happened to this first human being who came out of the mountains and the moon? What happened to him? Because all I know is what you would have us believe, that somehow an alien people came from who knows where Yes, beloved, we're trying to understand what is going on here. You have a card? Well, anyway, beloved, but my point is that from the beginning of the Nile, the source of the Nile, which is the mountains and the moon, this is where one and all agree that the humanity appeared. And I would very much like to elaborate what's going on here. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Monroe.
Welcome, welcome.
Okay, I am trying to understand your conversation, because I was listening earlier when you opened up and you were speaking about logic and science, and I guess that's like science and value, right?
Yeah.
Is there a sharp distinction between science and value?
Well,
You seem like you making that distinction, like if I give an example that one thing I want to say, like one and one is two, and anywhere you go, that is basically the same. So you consider that as a science, and value, you might go different places with. Is that, am I paraphrasing you correctly?
yes, you're paraphrasing correctly. It's the two kinds of knowledge. You know, you got the scientific knowledge and you got the human knowledge.
But let's hold up for a minute there. Mathematics or arithmetic and letters, they are not natural, they are man-made, right?
No. You mix up in it. The mathematics is science. When you say the letters, what do you mean by letters?
Let me tell you what in terms of, you said one and one, perhaps you might say like one and one would make two, and you could do that simple equation and then take away that one and you go and you say like those may basically logical, but in terms of multiplication and algebra and those division and stuff, they are not scientific. That is man construct.
No. All of that
I
is
mean, the adding, for instance,
well. Slow down a little bit. Slow down.
Man add value to that until you're
No. Slow down, please. Slow down, please. Slow down.
man construct, man logic, and
You're not hearing me.
determine that whereas there are certain events and phenomena in nature, you could follow them, and that would be scientific in my view. And they are reduplicated, you could experiment with it, and you would a basic
Okay.
outcome. But
Can you hear
I
me?
think to a certain extent, logic with mathematics
Can you hear me?
more so than
This is-
science. In the true scientific, like the hardcore scientific procedure.
so
With languages and so forth, letters is something we construct. So I would put them in the same category with values. Yeah.
well, I don't know what for the last half an hour here or more. I haven't had all kind of
Hello.
tactical problem. Yes, that's the problem. You can't hear me. I can hear you, but you can't hear me. And I don't know what to do about that. You know, and I've been I'm alone here. I don't know what to tell you other than that. Maybe need to take a break and see
Okay.
if we can get this thing. You hear me now?
Yeah. I hear you now. One day.
Okay, good. All right. Well, listen. We'll take a break, but just before let me just point out to you, I was using the 1+1, to give you an example of what is science. And what is science is anything that can be proven. So even if you went to calculus, algebra, trigonometry, or whatever, no, man didn't invent that. That is, science. Any theory that can be proven is scientific. It is what cannot be proven that is human. That is where the humanity comes in. But again, let me take this break here.
I don't cry. So why the hold on? Because I can't wait to put
Okay, well, hold on a minute. Come on, hold on. All right. Just to do some things here that I don't know. Um, you know that just in there, and I didn't know what was wrong with the cars because while I was hearing them, they could hear me, and I said, yeah.
Say yawa, me say one, people 1, 2, 3, 3 commercial alone, then the song will come out for 4 minutes. But it every leave it, take your break if you need a break. Or you tell me, because me say no, I'm actually he know we just pray somebody there, and then look at them up to now.
Well, after the commercial play, I'll come back and
Yeah.
I'll just fight And that is not because man made it a science. Man discovered the science. But it is the same way wherever you go, you can't change it. That's what makes it a science. You could always prove it and always get the same results. That's why I was using the 1+1 as an example. It don't matter what language you're doing it, what part of the world you're doing it, it's still 1+1 = 2. In other words, mathematics is a science.
But if I could interject, certain concepts did not start counting with 1 and 2. They would give the basic, they would give it, we have the basic 10, our system is a base 10.
Yeah.
Has a base 5. So,
But it don't matter. What matters is that it can be proven. However many times you want to try it, you always get the same result. That is what makes it a science.
well, I can't science was based upon nature. It was written in nature, and then man duplicated it in a lab and come up with this basic similar example of nature.
And all I'm saying to you is as long as you could prove it over and over and always get the same result, it is a science.
But making medication, right? Man making medication with a formula,
Yeah.
and he could recreate or reproduce that same formula. That's what we use in scientific as, because you could duplicate that formula of a baker baking a particular bread, that bread. They use a formula, different measurements. So those exact measurements done a million times will produce that same their bread or whatever pastry. That's
Yeah.
what we use it. That's a science.
As long as you're getting the same results, it is a science, it's scientific. That is the point. That is the point. In other words, it don't matter whether you call it black bread or you call it white bread, you call it fruit bread or whatever. The thing is, as long as you use that.
You're right, that's because what you might say as a hard science, I don't think that is it, because you could, like the art, you're using from humanity, you have like the convention like the culture and way of life.
There you go. Those are the humanities now. Those are the humanities that depend on where you are in the world, what people you're dealing with, as to what kind of results you're going to get. That is humanities.
But Mr. Morehead, there are certain cultural universal, like every culture satisfies certain needs of its people. Food, shelter, and the need of language communication.
Right.
Those are basic universal. No matter where you go in the country, in the world,
Yeah.
as long as that people that share that experience and they producing food and those basic necessities, that is basically throughout the world, whether you're flipping what you need, agriculture.
Yeah, but the thing is how it is done though. How it is done determines whether it is scientific or, humanity. Because again, it is if you can prove it again and again and again. That is the difference between whether it's scientific, or it is a humanity. And that
I have question, but I really want to monopolize the time, so I gonna hang up and just roll over something in my mind, and I know so get back in a comment and just pick up.
well, I'm trying my best to break this thing down to simple theories that hopefully my beloved audience could understand, because these are the principles of knowledge that they rob us. Remember, chattel enslavement actually destroys the humanity in human beings, so that we become objects, we become things. We are no longer human beings, and so therefore we have no humanity. We have to be taught these things. And
But that's culture, Mr. Moore. That's culture.
well, it is not culture, it is training, because it's been inculcated in you, and you have no choice in it. Culture is something that comes from within you, your way of doing something. That is your culture. But if it is imposed on you from the outside, particularly like in enslavement by your owner,
But
it is not culture.
I don't think it's culture. You're saying but there are certain values, like in the other conversation of monologue, you were mentioning certain values,
Yeah.
but there are certain values that apply to everybody.
But again, but everybody have different values. And depending on where you are in the world, matter of fact, if you're in a hot environment, it might be one way. If you're in a cold environment, it might be another way, and so forth and so on. This is what makes it a humanity, because it is not going to give you the same result every time. It is like
Anyone understand the big draw? No, but
no, but again, well, if I had a car, I would have said that to you, but you ain't got no car. But it's like water. Take the element of water, just water. All right. It depends on whether it is in a hot temperature or a cold temperature, as to whether it is going to be water, ice, or just gas, vapor.
And that will be environmental. You will create culture to adapt to those external realities. But what about the internal being of human beings? The values, our beliefs that this, because culture is what makes us who we are. And not the tools that, for instance, you might say we use a stone to do agriculture, and then as years go by, we improve it. We use iron, and then we use machinery, etc. There is cultural changes, right? And there's cultural tools, but our values, like our sense of morality, right and wrong, and those things fall under the rubric of culture. Our values, that what determine who we are
Yeah.
as a human being, our people.
That's we come into the same point of view now, is that you're saying that the one comes from inside the human being who develops it. That's where culture comes in. But science is there regardless of what the person thinks or don't think, because it is a universal concept. That's what makes it a science. Wherever it is, it comes up to the same thing. But I'm getting a call now, and please, all right, good thing. All right. Good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
and a good welcome to you. Welcome.
I didn't know you were on today.
Ordinarily I am not, but as I announced yesterday that my one and only sister would be unavailable, and that I was going to be sitting in for her today and also next week, Wednesday. So two Wednesdays in a row, I will be sitting in. And so that's why you get my voice instead of hers.
All right, then I heard when I tuned in something about knowledge you were saying?
Yes, so I was trying to explain to our beloved audience that uh, knowledge comes in two forms. It's scientific and the human. And so we have, science and we have humanity.
Okay.
And that science is unchanging, it's universal, wherever you go, it's the same. But humanities, differ with people and environment. Wherever you go, going to be a different thing. And I gave us an example of humanities' values, principles, beliefs, all of these things, are humanities. And these are institutions built on it. Like, for instance, our concept of public safety, it's a matter of humanity. That's not a science. It's what we as a people consider to be the public safety.
Okay. Well, what about spiritual knowledge? Where would you
Again,
put that?
if I was in the category of being a humanity,
Okay.
because again, it depends on who you're talking about, and when you look at that person, their environment has a great impact on what their spiritual values end up being. Like hey, people who come up in the north would have more well more respect for fire than somebody who comes out of the north of the tropics.
Because I was discussing with somebody why it's important to know the history of Christianity, because when Christopher Columbus came, particularly to St. Croix, it was occupied. You had the indigenous people, and they didn't have no knowledge of no Jesus Christ and the Bible and all that. They had their own spirituality, and the Europeans introduced Christianity. So that's all part of the history that we can't go without mentioning. And as I look around, it's amazing to me, this island that Christopher Columbus called Santa Cruz. We see all these churches. Probably St. Croix has the most churches per square miles than any place under the sun.
But
And yet,
no, I interrupt you quickly to just say that all of that has happened in my lifetime.
Yeah.
I have had occasion, as a talk show host, to tell people, listen, when I was growing up, I could count the religions we had on my one hand.
yeah.
That's how it was. You had, yeah,
And yet you see a rise in domestic violence. You see people driving crazy,
yeah,
knocking down people, killing people in crashes. You see the corruption, people getting arrested for white collar crime, all on the rise. And as all this increases, the number of church seems to increase too. And I'm like, well, it's supposed to be the most spiritual place in the world. And yet here it is, we have this high crime rate. And what happened to this humanity, this plurality? And then I think about what the governor mentioned once in relation to what's happening with the United States. He said that somebody sent him a copy of the Treaty of Session, Treaty 629, I think it's called. The Treaty of Session, I know you're familiar with that, right?
yes, sir.
And I need to go back and read it myself, because my understanding is there's something in there that Denmark is pretty much saying Greenland could be taken by the United States.
No, quite the opposite. No, the opposite. That,
Okay. I don't know.
that America will agree that,
Mhm.
that Greenland is 100% a part of the Danish kingdom.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I know it's a possession of Denmark now, and President Trump wants possession of Greenland. And as I was saying, it's in the U.S. Constitution, Article 4. Congress, Carter Wax written here, has the sole authority to dispose of territories. So this unincorporated territory was purchased, and what is to say Denmark and United States go back to the table to negotiate some new deals. So we have to really pay attention, because everything that's happening in the United States is going to have obviously an impact on us. And we're talking about food, sustaining ourselves, agriculture, and then at the same time, you have a president that have this policy drill baby, and they want to take over, apparently taking control of Venezuela, and then reopen the oil refinery to refine the crude oil that comes from Venezuela, because this is how Provenza was set up to refine that oil. So that thing's happening, and we really need to pay attention. We have a major election coming up. It's definitely, we the people could change course, but how do you get more people to participate in the process is the issue. And like you've mentioned, a lot of people don't want to participate. The people from the Rastafarian community, a lot of them do not wish to get involved in government. They don't want no part of politics. But it is important, because those who are consistently going to the polls, they're the ones that making the government the way it is, because like I say, you get a government you elect. And this is a gubernatorial year. We're going to be getting into the 10th elected governor. I want people to choose wisely and don't surrender that right and privilege to vote. And so that spiritual knowledge, when I say we are talking African descendants, we were spiritual people, but religion is what, because of our spirituality, we believe, we hope, we pray, but look at how we were treated by the colonizers, especially Denmark. And we see what they call it, the chain of office. The governor said, no, he's not wearing it anymore. But he's suggesting that something to represent Africa be placed there. And I told you, it was by legislation that chain of was created. How the eighth one didn't get in there, because Germany once had a stake in the Virgin Islands, particularly on St. Thomas.
No, they didn't have a stake. They had, they had a trading post. They were the main. They had an interest. They had an interest. Okay, that's what I mean. Well, you could look it up. Brandenburg.
Yes, I understand that.
Matter of fact, there's also the Brandenburg. It's the entrance to Berlin.
Right.
That's one of the arches, the entrance to Berlin, the Brandenburg Gate.
Well, that's what I mean. When I said I meant the interest, Germany was interested in purchasing the Danish West Indies because of the strategic location.
Well, and I'm saying to you that all I'm saying to you is check your history. At the time, there was no Germany.
Yeah, okay? They were not the colonizer.
So that Brandenburg was just a principality from the Holy Roman Empire. This is before what's the name of the man that brought Germany all together now? Von Bismarck, Otto von Bismarck. at the end of the 19th century. But before this, the Brandenburgers were a principality, and they were the biggest slave owners and marketeers in the Eastern Caribbean. And they used St. Thomas and what they call Crab Island, is now vacant, as their headquarters. And again, this is in history. You could define it there, And so the question is, why Brandenburgers? They had no nationality in St. Thomas. They simply were the main slavers out of St. Thomas, and they supplied well, enslaved Africans for places like Hispaniola and Cuba, that was run by this Spain. And yes, matter of fact, have you ever heard of Namibia?
Yes.
It used to be Southwest Germany. Before this, again, this was the Brandenburgers. They had a genocide in what was Southwest Africa, now Namibia. And these are again, history will tell you this. And so that, hey, but I gotta take my break. But please, ask the governor to explain, how is it that the Brandenburg, was around his neck? Let them explain by me. They weren't German. They was not Germany yet. This is my point that I'm making to you. No Germany existed. If they had said Prussia, that was a larger principality even. But there was no Germany.
Well, we need to go back, all of us. And,
Otto von Bismarck, helped bring Germany together. This was towards the end of the 19th century. So when we're talking about the Brandenburgers, there was no Germany then.
Anyway, I need to call back because
okay, all right, very good. You're very welcome. And beloved, all I can say to you is, hold straight. We will be back. We're back. And beloved, I want you to come with me because I've got somebody being very patient at the doorstep. Good afternoon, welcome.
Good afternoon.
And a big welcome to you.
Yeah, so the humanities was defined as like history, art, music, cultural studies, language, to name a few.
Yeah.
Basically the things that humans do. The sciences are what the universe does.
Right,
It's all
natural.
down there.
That's nature. And what is natural, and I mean, can be proven over and over again, regardless of how you want to test it. You're gonna get the same result.
Yeah, we can all die, from some virus or something, but science will continue. It does not need man's input. While humanities is all about man. If the humans die, humanities die.
There you go. All right,
So,
all right. You need to be a professor.
Also part of. So you're saying your example of, I forgot, I'm not sure if it's right up or the caller, but black bread. Yes, mixing the stuff together, the yeast and all that, and putting it in the oven, the heat, that's all science.
Yes.
But the fact that the man decided to make black bread is humanity.
Exactly. You could be a professor. Maybe you are. I don't know. Maybe you are a professor. I don't know. But yes, you've got it right. You've got it right. And that's the great divide in knowledge. There's those that we call science, and the other we call, the humanities. And it's
humans have to be involved in humanity.
Right.
That's why it's called humanity.
That's
so
right.
It's all human
That's right.
behavior.
That's right.
Yeah. So whether it's their religion, their history, their culture, their language, their music, their art, all of that is about humans. So
Precisely. But most people, as simple as it seems and as obvious, to our way of life, but the average person has no concept, of this great divide in what we know as knowledge. Knowledge that comes from nature.
Gone to college and have taken humanities and it's been labeled as humanities. Haven't really thought about it. And what exactly is it? The basic of humanity.
Right.
So it is a good topic. It's something that I don't think a lot of people have really.
Well, they haven't. But I thought about it. Let me tell you, because I wanted to introduce something to, and matter of fact, it's a book we've been working since last summer, and I've started over with it about 3 times already. But I'm trying to do something with what I call the African humanities. And this is where I was going with this.
About that too, that that a lot has that people have not talked about that. There's a big gap, from the beginning of human beings, and then it's like then they pop up with European culture.
Right.
But the thing is that they're interested in it because it's their history.
Yeah.
And so the problem is we're not that interested in our history and I'm wondering why we are, why we're in the state we're in, what happened in the past, what is our culture, what is our art, what is our languages.
But we haven't had professors like you, to make this clear to us.
But even more important too is money behind it. So the historians, the people who archaeologists and whatnot, they get funded by the rich Europeans.
True.
They're interested in their past and they want to know, so they put out the money to find out. We have not come to that. We have some black people with money, but those people are not curious about these things. You know, a lot of them are athletes and actors, and so their mindset and what they're interested in is far from this. And so there isn't funding. There isn't something, you know, so I haven't really heard of a lot of Black archaeologists who are going back to Africa and digging up places. And I'm sure there are some, but are they getting funded? Are the Black people with money funding them to do these things? Because that's how it happens with the white people. The white people with money fund the people who have the interest to go and dig in the dirt to find things.
Yes.
And to find out what, you know, what has happened. Or also to the performing art, to make new music, make new art.
Yeah.
So that, I think that's what's lacking. And why there is this big gap between the first human beings and slavery. You know, it's like, you know, and of course we know things happen, but the most we get is some African man. You know, that's what the Europeans, that's as far as their interests go.
Well, again, I do believe that the fact that them and those who have been able to accumulate resources come out of the entertainment field, whether they're, you know, athletes or just simply entertainers. They said they don't have this interest, and I don't know how. Well, how do we resolve that vacuum, that lack of interest there?
Well, I think it's in part of the societies that they live in. So most of them live in white societies, and white people get a little concerned when you become interested in your African heritage. They, you know, in the back of their minds, they're thinking Black people are just waiting for a chance to get back at them because of slavery. Yeah. Because that's what they would do. They would, if they were in our position and got a chance, they would, but they don't realize that Black people don't quite, we call, you know, again, we have a different history, a different experience. And most of the time, Black people don't seem to be interested in revenge. Not that they aren't, but the numbers are not large enough for them to really be concerned about it. We don't seem to be driven in that fashion. And it's because we've had different experiences, you know. So yes, they would, if they got a chance, if they were, you know, if they were treated how Black people were treated, and they came to power and got a chance to get back, like what Trump is doing, they would do that. Yeah. But you know, but if you don't see that much with Black people, when they get a chance to get revenge, the vast majority of them don't really go for it. They're more, you know, and so I think their fears are unfounded, but I don't think we could ever convince them of that, because that's what they would do.
Well, that's just interesting, but again, well, I don't expect to be around for it, but there's a thing that is, well, I was going to say growing, but it's definitely unfolding a new perspective in what can come out of the global South. I'm talking about that organization called BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. They have the opportunity.
You're coming in a little soft. I don't know if there's anything you could do for it.
I don't know. Well,
yeah, but just, you know, if there was something, you know, but I just wanted to let you know.
Well, I hope that the office heard it so that there's something that they can do.
Yeah. You can, I,
You'll do
when
that.
you, I could hear you clearly when you're on the radio, but over the phone you're coming in a little soft.
But boss, I hope you hear that.
Right.
But at any rate, well, yes, what was trying to introduce to the situation is that this new international body that is come out of the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And from what I have learned, what I've read, which is really minimal, really, but it's enough to tell me that there is a new hegemonic posture, you know, in the international world order, which I know of it, but the United States is kind of missed because they were so concerned about, well, restraining Russia that they missed out on the fact that, well, Russia was no longer alone because I wish I had a map in front of me. But since the early 1990s, I found that the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and they call NATO, they pretty much surrounded Russia. From the Baltic states to the Eastern European states, they pretty much surrounded Russia, and all that was left was Ukraine. And when they put that coup in, and what was it, 2012 or whatever it was, that they got their man in Zelensky. It seems to me that they expected that Russia would react, and it did. But the fact of the matter is that Russia is no longer alone. This is what I'm pointing out, that hey, there's now some 20 or 30 countries throughout the global south that have now joined up with BRICS. And so that there's a new international world order, and here comes President Trump. What was he called? It's the Board of Peace, I think it's called it, the Board of Peace, something like this. But he seems to want to, well, come up with his brand of a United Nations organization, because he doesn't feel that the United Nations is up to the task, which pretty much everybody would agree with him, because of the situation both in Ukraine and the Middle East. The United Nations seems to be totally unable to do anything about either crises. And so I think that the global south is an international order that we're missing out on, and that's what I meant when I said I don't think I'd be around to see it bear fruit, but I do believe that the days of, we'll call it, this hegemonic one superpower thing is over, and that the United States is going to have to come to realize that, hey, it's going to be a multipolar world order very soon.
Yeah, that definitely is the case. Russia and China, and they can't be discounted.
unfortunately, uh, you find it that the African continent, is beginning to wake up and realize that, hey, it is time we started to, well, as I preach all the time, uh, grow from the inside out, as opposed to just sitting back and allowing for all of these European nations to come in and take what they want and refine it, develop it all which way and sell it back
Well,
to
we
them.
have to get our people into all the things that are necessary, the sciences and humanities. So they are both very necessary, and we have to get our children interested in. Get them into find something they're interested in, digging in the dirt and finding things. Both for the science part of it, the minerals and the things that we need, but also for the humanities part to find out our history and past culture and that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So and we need that everything, as you see. You see the humanities is a wide scope, the sciences are a wide scope. So we don't need. So you see what your child is interested in doing, and encourage them to do it. And so it may not be what you want them to do, but that's their interest. Foster it. Encourage it, because we need everything. We need bakers, we need engineers, we need cooks, we need chemists. What can we say we don't need?
I don't know. I come back to this.
Murderers and criminals, that's the only thing you can say we don't need.
No, we don't need any murderers or criminals. But we
we have plenty of that. Too much. We need and so just pay attention to the young people around you. See what they're naturally interested in, what they want to do on their own. They don't have to be forced to do it, and encourage it, and try to help them develop it as best you can. And if you have a lot of money, then you can do a lot of encouragement, and that's how other societies grow and become powerful.
I agree to all of that. But here we are. It's a big general election year in the Virgin Islands, and unfortunately, from the perch on which I sit, I don't see any hope of a different leadership coming out of the Virgin Islands in this gubernatorial election year.
Well, that's again, we have failed to raise our children to be the kind of leaders that we say we want. We seem to raise them to just try to go in and get as much as they can for themselves. And they're not, we're not shipping them in. Our major leaders have been born and raised here. They have been under our influence for their time period to when they're gone. So it's what we're doing as a community that is getting these results. And so we need to change that in order to get different results. I mean, it was one thing if they were coming from somewhere else and they were born and raised somewhere, and being born ain't even the thing, because where I was born, all there is was it had a good hospital and prenatal care. But that was it. That was the extent of their influence on me. Here is where I grew up, and my memory kicked in. And so that place doesn't have any other meaning other than it has a good hospital and good prenatal care, and they didn't kill me.
How about that?
And so it's how we treat each other, what we are doing to each other, bringing us this result? That people are not, when they get older and adults, they are not concerned about their fellow Virgin Islanders. They're just trying to plow save our reserves and grab as much as they can before they get out.
So
And that's apparently how we raise them.
shameful.
And it's not just one, it's not just two. You know, I would say the majority seems to be in this frame of mind. And the only reason they seem to want to get to the leadership positions is to get their hands on the treasury.
I am totally agreed with you, but I am still, and you've heard me urge this upon you. The cognitive ability that you articulate says to me that hey, we need this kind of leadership, but this kind of leadership is vehemently opposed to any involvement, and that's so problematic with us here. And so I don't know. We keep the hope alive.
Like his values here, you know.
It is not. It is not. But you have explained why it is not valued here.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And as I keep telling you, I do other things that it's kind of like I'm the only one who does it, and it needs to happen. You know, as I said,
you're not the only one. There's a handful, but a handful is more than enough in this, tiny unincorporated territory. A handful is more than enough. But again, until the next time, we keep your hope alive.
Right. Let me get off in case somebody else is trying to get in.
All right. Good talking with you. Stay strong. All right. And with that, beloved, we say hold straight. We will be right back after the break. And beloved, I invite you to come with us. I am going to open the door and welcome this Kala.
Okay, good afternoon again.
Welcome again. We got room for you.
Yes, I went and did some research, and this is what I gathered, pretty much what you were talking about.
Okay.
So the U.S. Virgin Islands governor's chain of office is a ceremonial collar featuring 7 gold shields representing the nations that have held sovereignty over the island: Spain, Great Britain, the Netherlands, France, the Knights of Malta, Denmark, and the U.S., designed by Philip Canero and created for the first elected governor in 1971. It symbolizes the territory's history, culture, and executive authority. But here's the contradiction now.
Okay.
The chain includes the 7 shields and an 8 representing Germany and a large VI golden plate at the base with 3 pearls representing the major islands: St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John. Usage: it is presented to the governor during inauguration and worn at major events such as the State of the Territory address. Protocol: by law, the chain must be returned to the president of the legislature at least 48 hours before a new governor is inaugurated. Origin: created under Bill 4705, passed December 21st, 1970, to commemorate the first elected governor, Melvin Evans. Now, the governor is suggesting that the legislation to include some link with Africa. I don't know. I will have to listen more to his explanation, because I know, well, Africa is a continent and there's several nations making up Africa.
Not several, a lot of them. 54 is a 5.
54, right?
5-4, yes.
And there's some aspects of history we don't want to, some of us, but you have to tell the whole story, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because Ghana was involved with the slave trade too. Was involved with slavery. Slavery was practiced in Africa. Other Africans, enslaved Africans, tribes, and so on. That's a cultural thing. But anyway, if it's going to be representing Africa, I don't know if the government is asking for a complete redesign, but I think we may not want that chain of command or chain of office period because of the colonial history. With, the relationship we had with colonizers.
Well, if I might interrupt to get, please give your opinion from what you researched so far. What is your understanding as to why, the thought came up that such commemoration would be worthwhile for our elected governors to actually pay tribute to our colonizers? I mean, where did that come from?
Well, my thought is, at the time, the mindset then, people in general, I find, don't think 50 years ahead. They maybe think the next generation, 20 years ahead. But at the time they were looking at it like, thank God we under the US flag now. I mean, even though
But no, but again, I hear you. I feel you where you want to go, but we're talking 1970.
well, that means
You know, so this is a half a century after being American.
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I think it's time to revisit and maybe get rid of it. I think it's time
But
to
I feel you. I feel you. I'm trying to, get your view, your thoughts as to, where this effort to commemorate our previous colonizers and enslavers even. Why is it that when this would have been 1970, this would have been a Maduro legislature,
right. Maduro was the president of the legislature.
all right? So this is what I'm saying is like, where did the start come from to commemorate these colonizers?
Well, I hear where you're going. I think I know where you're going with that. I think because we need to recognize our contribution and how resilient we were to come out of physical boundaries.
Yes, I do. We're on the same page there. Believe you me, we're on the same
Yeah, I
page.
hear
What I'm trying to
feel
get from you, though, is from what you have researched. If you haven't found anything, well, I mean, you say that. But have you found any thoughts, any thread that you could pull on that speaks to why is it that when a Maduro legislature would want to commemorate our colonizers, but not our ancestors?
I could just speculate and say at the time they didn't have an appreciation for the original history. And that's why I think what you're doing to promote original history is good. To me, if you know oneself, if you know your roots, your origin, and you see what we have went through, you wouldn't want to pay tribute to the colonizers based on the history. So I could say maybe they just wasn't thinking clearly, and they didn't think this one through, but they still hope. The governor made a bold decision not to wear it in his final state of the territorial address.
I mean, that would have been great if instead of just pointing vaguely to an African motive behind it, if he had given an explanation, that in itself would have been educational for the people of the Virgin Islands to understand. If there is,
I agree with what you're saying.
it's just something because well, look at the conversation we're having, and we're having this conversation. Why? Because them and those in power, including the Department of Education, refuses, to give us this background so that we can know for certain instead of having to speculate about all of these things. It's crazy.
It's crazy, but what you were saying earlier with the issue with
Humanities.
Greenland, I went and I looked that up too with the Treaty of Cession.
Yeah.
And it says here, this is the Google search, right?
Yeah.
AI. And it says here that geopolitical context. The treaty included an agreement for the U.S. to recognize Danish
There you go.
overhaul
Yes.
of Greenland.
There you go. That's what I was saying. Yes. Yes.
And the point, what's happening with this Trump regime, they're not respecting that treaty, but that's always been the tradition of the United States. They have broken treaties. They make treaties, but how many treaties they made with the Native Americans? And I don't call them Indians because they were not nationals of India. They were the original inhabitants of the Americas, including the Virgin Islands, particularly St. Croix, Arawak, and Carib,
Yeah.
and Columbus arrive here. Those people were not Indians. They were from the valley. They were here.
Well, remember the time, just like, you were speculating about the Maduro regime at the time, when you go back several hundred years, you got to realize that actually they thought that they could head west to find India and China.
Exactly.
So that
And
this
that's
is
why
how
it's called the
come
West
we
Indies.
get right, as opposed to the East Indies with the West Indies,
Right. So they're not Indians.
No.
The people, the indigenous people, we had so many different tribes, and yet there's evidence that Africans came and they mixed the gene pool.
Right.
Because they look at the heads, what they call them?
Olmec, OL.
Yeah. In Mexico, and you look at the Mexican people, you
Yeah.
have some of the Mexican people are very dark skin.
Yeah.
And they like the Seminoles, that they mix with
Yeah.
the Maroons, with possibly Africans that came before the arrival of the Europeans
Right.
were here, and it's all makes sense. So I never refer to those people as no Indians. They are the indigenous people, the Native Americans, and some of the history books, like the one I read it, and I love the book, but I think there's some things that need some correction in the umbilical card because he's referring to them as Indians too.
Yeah.
That were here. And I'm like, what Indian? They were not Indian. And I'm saying that it's important. And now that we have a better understanding overall of our lineage, our heritage, I think it's time for the legislation to revisit that. And maybe
Again, I would agree with you, but how could they do that if at the same time they are refusing our students the opportunity to be exposed to their own history? I mean, again,
I guess
since
it will take more effort.
but
So they just don't give up the battle because our ancestors, people like Queen Mary and John Gaffney, Mubulo, they didn't give up. They didn't give up. It's always a struggle. The government doesn't just simply grant you rights and privilege. You always have to be fighting. You had Jim Crow laws, you have to fight for civil rights. It's always a fight. And it's they struggle continue because we still marginalized. We have an issue, and especially people of color. Of all the people, they should never ever surrender their right to vote. Because you see how President Trump got in. You think all the white supremacists, the bigots, the racists, they came out to make sure they had somebody to represent their views. They came out. So if we don't want to come out to make that difference, we would be right back in the same situation, after the same thing, the importance of original history. If we don't elect people, they don't even want, none of the incumbents would put the topic for a 10-foot pole. They don't even want to discuss anything about constitution. Okay? They're not saying anything like that. They're telling people what they want to hear to get elected or re-elected. And I'm saying, be critical. I don't tell anybody who to vote for or how to vote. All I'm just saying is it's majority rule, and if you want to be a part of this destiny to make this Aboriginals a better place, choose wisely. Do not let ignorance and defiance overrule common sense and wisdom. I would say everybody who's eligible should be voting. This is critical. Let's say that for every election, but this is the 10th elected, would be the 10th elected governor.
right.
And
But do we have any,
Huh?
I mean, do we have any gubernatorial candidates that speak to these issues that you're raising right here now?
Well, that's what I'm telling you. They don't. They don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. They stay away from that. They want to tell you how much money you're going to get. They're going to raise your salary like that. Your salary raise, everything else go up. So you're not really ahead. In the end, you're going to be in a different tax bracket. You're going to pay more because look at just last year, it was $5 for seniors to go into the agriculture trade. They raised it by $1. So you take one step forward, you think you got a raise, and the government comes and pow, you got this fee, that fee, this tax, and you're right back to square one. So yes, this should not be running away from the topic. That's the kind of questions people should be asking them, because they are going to promise you the same. They're going to all make promises, even if they know they can't deliver it. But it may make some people feel good when they say, we're going to make sure you got a raise in salary. But they're not going to tell you about, we're going to make sure it's double too. Because we want to pay our mortgage, right? But they may have a mortgage. You don't have a mortgage. You are living in one of the housing communities. And you are going to feel the pitch, even if you get in the snap and the map and all of that. You are going to feel the pinch because you have to eat. And if they are importing most of what we eat here, prices will continue to rise. Your cost, yes, the governor promised a reduction. It's going to be gradual. I do think there will be a decrease in the WAPA because of the solar farms. However, it's overall, like we see what happened in Rome. You need to study our history, the fall of the Roman Empire, inflation. They give you more salary, they give you more bills. So are you really ahead of the game? No, it's a capitalistic society. And all I can say is at least we have representative democracy. And if you wish to make a difference in your government, because you get the government you vote for, participate. All I can do is just continue to advocate for people to don't take this for granted. That's a right and a privilege that people before us fought for. People that look like you and me. They fought for that. They sacrificed their lives for that. And you want to take it up. I'm not voting because the machines are rigged. Well, if that's your mentality, the ones who are going to vote are going to be the ones who've been voting, the base, for the incumbents. They are not going to give up. They're going to continue to vote. So if you want to make a difference, I would say vote, because every vote counts. It could be the difference between one gubernatorial candidate and another. One vote can make a difference. So I just sort of advocate to people to learn your history, learn to see how the government operates, and participate in the process.
Well, I certainly wish there were some candidates that, are aware of these issues and hopefully would be promoting them. But as you pointed out to us, no, absolutely not. And they don't want to touch it, as you said, anecdotally anyhow, that not even with a 10-foot pool. So I don't know how we're going to get change in near future, because there are quite a few candidates that I have heard of for government house, including I think it's 3 females, and a lot of people have said that too, that we're trying to get the first female governor. I don't know about that, because I don't know that a female governor is going to raise the issues that are so critical to us making progress in terms of our young people having an identity and you know, just shying away from violence and promoting their own internal growth. I
Well,
don't
I'm
see.
not going by gender. I would love to see the first elected female governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands. And I wish it was female gubernatorial candidate. However, we know that's not the case. Most of the candidates will probably be male. And I am looking who's the best candidate. I don't care what gender they have or what sexual orientation.
But you've made it pretty clear already, like I said, whether anecdotally or not, that none of the candidates want to touch these issues that he would attend for poll. So,
Well, we just have to pick. We got to pick. I'm saying don't give up.
we're not giving up, but how do you cultivate, you know, leaders with this kind of ideology to get involved? Because, matter of fact, just earlier this afternoon, I had a caller with a very interesting caller who I refer to him as, you know, a professor who's speaking about the humanities of Africans and so forth. But then again, people like him don't want to get involved. People like yourself don't want to get involved. So that the people who can bring forward these relatively crucial, critical, and very relevant issues, those people don't want to get involved. So where's the change going to come from?
Well, we have to find somebody and who we think is going to make the ideal candidate and rally behind the force, because leaders have followers.
You say that on the one hand, you tell us that none of the candidates want to touch these issues. But then at the same time, you say we have to find the best candidate. How are we going to find them if they're not there?
I am nominating you as a gubernatorial candidate.
Well, I am not at age 86. Matter of fact, I'll be 87 come November.
What? 87?
In November, I will be 87.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. You know, so again, I wish I could have been involved, but at my age, I would be really just be egotistical, hubris to think that I could be, you know, a gubernatorial candidate. I would much rather have, you know, the likes of you and some of the others that have been regulars on my program on Tuesdays, and but that's just it. Them and those who seem to know what we need to make a change with our young people and our future just don't want to get involved. Don't want to get involved. And that includes you.
You do the card you got, you just gotta deal with that. So soft the way, but the governor said whatever way comes your way, so you just have to look at all the candidates.
Well,
when it's and you determine for yourself, you vet them, you the individual voter. Like I said, I don't tell anybody I have my criteria.
all right.
And for me, educational level is very important. Even though it's not an eligibility requirement to run for governor, you don't have to achieve what we have for president. You could be a high school dropout and still be eligible.
Okay.
But for me personally, I like somebody with a high educational caliber. And so I look at things like that. I look at the person's record of accomplishment, your community involvement. What have you done for the community lately? I look at their employment record, leadership skills, how they communicate. But one thing politicians seem, at least the masters of the game have in common is they have the gift of God. They can speak. Somebody can speak, but they still popular. But how you communicate is important to me. I
All right.
want somebody to be able to deliver an excellent state of the territory address with honesty. And that's for me personally. That's what I look at.
Okay,
I don't know.
well.
I don't judge other people how they want to vote. That's
All right.
what they do.
We keep hope alive that a candidate with some of those qualities, not all of them, but at least some of those qualities would appear before it's all over. Because well, it seems they're going to be early before November because the majority of these candidates are all Democrats. So
No, that's what
they're going
I
to be
would predict.
eliminated in the primary.
Yeah, I would predict the next 10 elected governors will be a Democrat. I predict that.
That's a
And
safe
check them
one.
out. Check them out because
All right. Thank you. Okay.
we out. Thank you.
I imagine. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Take care of yourself. Be strong. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Beloved, Wall Street, we will be right We're back, beloved. And yes, it's Wednesday, not Tuesday. So don't expect any history questions. But we have a beloved, we have been trying our best here. Let's see what this caller has to do. Good afternoon, welcome.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Moore.
Yes, man, a big welcome to you.
So if I got the main topic concerning the humanities and the science, concerning the weather from space, the weather patterns of stars, right?
Yeah,
We live in the tropical region, we know a hurricane seeds for the warm ocean.
yeah.
What is the dynamic and what is the fuel in the winter? What fuel is that and what dynamic that drives that winter with a kind of blizzard? What is it? That phenomenon or that energy that the seeds offer to give it a force and power? And also does it rotate like a hurricane? Can you tell me that?
Well, I don't know enough to satisfy you other than to tell you that instead of ocean currents, we're talking about wind currents. And so it is, it is the change.
Cold wind or warm wind? What's the element in that? Just
Well, again, cold wind, but it's a matter of the pressure. When you have a high pressure system prevailing and a cold, low pressure system comes in, it's like two vehicles crashing on a highway. And usually, this is where the economy comes in. It's like the hurricane is looking for the temperature changes in the water, but the blizzards in the north is the changes in the current, high temperature,
how can the high elevation would bring it cooler temperature, and then what? You combine with a low, with a warmer mid pressure or something like that.
Yes, something like that. But I am not enough aware of meteorology, to give you any further information. And my experience on the airwave is, Mario, if you don't know what it is, make sure you tell people you don't know. And I don't know any more than I'm telling you, other than that, for the tropics, it comes out of the ocean temperature. In the north, it comes out of the pressure changes in the air currents.
Okay.
That's about all that I can say.
It's an interesting phenomenon. And because it's really something we have like the warm water that's
Right,
fuel,
right.
But back to the thing, you said there's two types of knowledge. The humanities and then you have the scientific. And I was basically saying, Mr. Moores, I wouldn't make a sharp distinction or be a hard and fast or cut and dry distinction between the two.
But you have to. You have to.
I'm
Because
going to show you why the reason why.
okay, go ahead.
You said that a science and your guiding principle is you could duplicate or repeat it. That's what you're saying?
It has to be able to be repeated.
Okay.
And every time you get the same result. If not, it is not scientific.
Can get the same result.
It has to if it is scientific.
Let's take an element or article that belongs to the humanity, and let's see if that principle or that concept will apply to it. Music. Music, you have notes, you have 8 notes, and you have timing,
Yeah.
and you have rest.
Yeah.
If you want to play this, our quiz in music,
Yeah.
you get those particular cards or those that make up it and the timing, and you put that into a computer or some kind of rhythm box.
Yeah.
You can reduplicate that song for eternity.
Yeah.
So that will be following the scientific method.
Again, no, it would not, because you're talking about notes and chords, and again, unless it's a machine that's recorded it, you have to always be aware that hey, some people, hit a C note one way, while B flat another way, so forth, and just
Mr. Moore, if I tell you to a beat, I could write down sheet music and give it to a person in Denmark, say someplace in Japan.
yeah,
And as long as those people use music and whatever the time and rest, he could reduplicate.
that
He
is
might not be familiar with quail like that, like John I, but reading the sheet music,
yeah,
he can play that.
yeah,
Just like anybody that's born in our environment and exposed to it.
yeah.
So would not that be scientific?
That is kind. Well, it's scientific in as much as it is your creation that is being duplicated, but it didn't come from nature; it came from you.
You're kind of no, man. I want to know, but you're making minus splitting heads, and I don't think that's justifiable. I won't qualify. Because if you're telling me science, if you're taking that within, okay, looking at nature, following the domination of a seed.
Uh-huh.
There are certain practices for the germination of the temperature, the moisture, the amount of sunlight, and that seed will germinate.
Uh-huh.
And that is scientific step and procedure. And you could duplicate that. It's the same thing with the vibrating notes and timing and reproducing creating music or making music.
Mm.
That's the same. Some of the same articles. I mean, the different articles, but they are the same items that they're using to replicate a particular song.
But it is when I said that that is not scientific, it is human. It is like if you wrote me a letter, all right. If you write a letter and I copy that letter and send it on, it's the same exact letter. But again, it is not out of nature. It is out of your head. It is your creation.
We want to be able to send it somewhere, but it's kind of confusing me. So science is rooted in nature? Or
Yes, it is rooted in nature, and it's for man to discover it. Man,
that's what I'm saying to you earlier. The natural, the hard sciences is what exists in nature, and then you do what they say to replicate those phenomena, those events in a lab, in an experimentation, like observation, testing, and see you get a similar result. That's how I'm looking at it, but you are showing me basically.
because no, it is not. It is like And that is why I try to break it down to such a simple thing as 1 + 1 is equal to, you know, because that that is the concept that we're talking about. In other words, 1 + 1 = 2 is there whether you and I observe it or not. But until we discover it, it is there in nature. When we discover it and we learn that, hey, look at this, 1 + 1 = 2. Did you know that? No, I didn't know that. Well, I just discovered it.
But nature, the nature, we see that in nature happening, or just we taking that what we know, our known construct of 1 + 1 = 2, with the
No,
symbol
no,
sign,
no.
the additional symbol sign, we add that. Because that does not exist in nature like that. You
No,
might see two stones, and I don't think the normal human span of those all is there in the same way. One stone, two stones. I don't think it would have been like that at all. We modern day human beings, where we just aware of that procedure and that way of thinking. We intend to get back into the mind of those people for the first time in human thinking, looking upon object and saying, well, one finger, two finger, and then the plus sign and that addition and saying two like that.
well,
I
it's
don't,
yeah, but again, how we label it, whether we call it a finger or we call it a digit, you know, again, uh, that is immaterial. What we're talking about with scientific is the fact that if you get one and then you get another one, that you have two. That is what is natural. And that's the concept that is keep escaping you. That is what is natural. And we now, as a result of that, we can extrapolate to the point where we could come up with algebra, trigonometry, geometry, calculus, you know. Uh, but the fact is that it is there in nature waiting to be discovered by man. Whereas these all the other things that we call humanities, they are actually this not discovered by man, but created by man. And that's the difference.
the card with mathematics, I, because like I said, like, I'm looking to take action. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to go back to relive and like, a rudimentary statement humanity to really get up to the origin of human concept training to like put reason or put boundaries to the environment. So, like, I don't just even like that we are just become by this topic, but I mean, so for me to really try to relive that rudimentary to all the beginning, I don't think it, it kind of difficult. I don't think human beings lose all the stages. Because certain culture there, for instance, right, another way. Certain culture there because of the concept of the zero. And for us to get like the number 10, zero had to be a part of that. But some may continue to develop the concept of a zero. So that's where I kind of wrestle with. I hear what you're saying. You're saying scientific and to follow those natural phenomena and activities and events and try to reduplicate them and to get a similar. That's the basis of science. I can understand that. You can verify it. But with the music, like I tell you, with medicine, we just take
Don't give up hope, man. Keep at it. Keep at it. Don't give up hope.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon again, Mario.
Welcome, man. Welcome.
Okay, couple things I want you to continue and lose my train of thought.
Well, take a deep breath and try to get it together because it's important.
Right, because what I wanted to say, I was not remembering, was that we have confirmed that there will be a town hall meeting at Rotary West in Fredericksburg. That's the white building with the goldish yellow shutters, on February 11th at 6 o'clock. So we're asking everybody to come out and express the position on this bill 46-0211. I want to call out the names of members of the Committee of Disaster Recovery and Infrastructure and Planning.
All right. Well, but help me out here. You said 11. That's 1 week from today.
Yes.
All right. So that again, I'm offering you, we should be next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, to again encourage my beloved audience to participate because I will be looking forward to joining you there.
Yes, thank you. That's next week, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Actually, February 11th of this year.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. That will be going from here to there.
Yes, that's the next step. And I'm inviting all the senators to come out and hear the people's voice. And I would like to call out the committee members that are going to be voting on this bill. That's the Committee of Disaster Recovery, Infrastructure and Planning.
Okay.
And the members is Maurice C. James, Milton E. Potter. He was the one sponsored the bill on behalf of the governor. We have Kurt Vialet, who started this whole charade 3.5 years ago, where he amended definition of agricultural processing to allow for Prosperity Distillery to put the distillery there. And he's the one who had a town hall meeting where the people showed that disdain for this whole idea of distilleries and agricultural land. And thanks to Genevieve Whitaker, she put in a bill to have that called the alleged repeal. And the senators voted for the repeal. And the board zoning definition went back to its original state. However, Mr. Axel and Prosperity Farm Distillery still went ahead and built a distillery, operated, and is selling the product from there. It's rum, and we're calling it spirit. When it's coming from sugarcane, it's rum. Okay. From VLA, the next person is Angel L. Borges Jr., also on the committee, doing M. DeGraff, Stewart L. Frederick, and Clifford Joseph. And I call him a name because I want the people to know to digest that and put that in the crack. And if they vote for this bill, these are the people you're going to vote against come election day. Because they have no regard for us and what we need here and what we want here most of all. We want economic stimulation, we want jobs, but we ain't fighting against the distilleries, we're fighting against where they are being relocated. They're asking to locate them on agricultural land and residential land, and if they are already properties zoned for that type of use, which is the industrial too, and when you have to dismantle it, some people can get some jobs. When you have to put it back, some people can get some jobs. When you have to now transport people to wherever you move it to, the taxi drivers then will get work. You can't transport them people from there back and forth without the help of the taxi drivers. The taxi drivers, people come out February 11th at 6 o'clock at Rotary West and show them the support against this bill. And again, the petition can be signed at Armstrong Ice Cream in the Yucca building. You could go to change.org, change.org, and just simply put in bill 36-0211 and sign the petition there. We have hundreds of signatures. People have faith that we could get it done, that they depend on our vote. The rich guys with the distillery, they don't put them in it. We do. We do, and who those of us like myself who have felt like hopeless, I have developed hope again because we went before against them. That we need to go and register to vote and become a part of the process and vote these people out, not because we're going to give them a vote because there's a friend and there's a family and they promise you this. That's all they have been to us, promises, and that's why we're in the state we are. And again, I would like to bring up the discharge. You can go down there right now and see the rose-colored vinette. And Mario, I'm sure you have knowledge of it, that regular runoff is a grayish color. That vinette is a rose-colored discharge that is present there down at the farm, up in the property. You have to drive up and have any road and able to see it. And then if you go on Prosperity Subdivision Road, oh God, you are there and there's rust and coming after the cane field. They can't say it is not them this time. It's there on their property. And also, Mario, for your information, I did call the Recorder of Deed office and asked them who owns Dr. William Nina Matricula 1 and stick name of William and Punch LLC. And I asked them if they have any change on the deed or reset anything. They said no. So hopefully that can bring more thing against the Prosperity Farm that they know discharging a mess on other people's property.
Okay.
So I appreciate the audience listening, and let's get involved. Show up February 11th at that town hall meeting and stop this bill.
All right. And don't forget, next week, Tuesday and Wednesday from 12:30 to 4:30, we'll be here, and we want to hear from you, because, well, let us see if we can get an overflow audience.
Yeah. I will be here. I'm gonna be on all the show than possible. I see we could do it, and I hope that I could instill in everybody that we can do it because they got to vote. They got to depend on our vote.
Okay.
They depend on our vote. All of them. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Stay strong. All righty.
You're welcome. Yeah. Okay. Bye.
And with that, beloved, we are prepared to take our final break of the afternoon. So hold straight, we will be back. We're back. And yes, beloved, your timepiece is correct. This is last lap. So if you're looking for a last lick in the last lap, this is it here and now. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Welcome back.
So let me give you call an example. If you have a rock on a hill held in place by dirt, and then it rains, it loosens up the dirt, and the rock falls down, rolls down the hill. You will now have one rock at the bottom of the hill. It takes place again, more rain, you get erosion, the dirt loosens, and a second rock rolls down the hill. Now you have two rocks down at the bottom of the hill.
Yes.
Man has nothing to do with it. This is science. This is what takes place. Now, man could cause the erosion by pouring water on the hill. He could, but if he doesn't, it happens anyway.
Yeah.
That's science. And now the man takes those rocks up and starts putting them together at a certain rhythm, making a sound that we call music. That's humanity. When man has to, the rocks aren't going to get together and beat at different rhythms. Man has to be involved for that to happen.
True.
That's humanity, music. Sure, science is still happening, the sound is science, but the particular rhythm is man's input. And that's what we call humanity. And just because man doesn't discover something doesn't mean it isn't there. Like Columbus. The continent, the continent was there. Yeah, but he ran into it and discovered it, and then told others about it. But
And misnamed it.
Pardon?
Misnamed it.
Right. Oh, but he didn't make it.
No.
Science made it. You know, the interaction, the lava magma underneath the earth and the movements and all that.
Absolutely.
And then even what,
I'm agreeing with you. I said absolutely yes, correct. I agree with you 100%.
But then, yeah, so we discovered it. They made maps. Yeah, that's again man's input. That's part of geography. That's a part of humanity. Making of the maps, the man input. But the man didn't make the islands, didn't make the continents. That's science. Things that man has no input doesn't have to happen because of man and happens in the universe is science. The things that can only really happen with man's input is humanity. He mentioned the vortex. I didn't really know what those were. I heard about it, but I never think so. I looked it up. And what that is also, again, science. Man doesn't really have, it's going to happen whether or not man is there. Now, man can, our burning of fossil fuels and climate change can change it a bit. And there'll be some influence, but it would happen whether or not. And what it is interesting. It's a jet stream that goes around the North Pole. And it is moving fast. You have a strong jet stream. It causes a vortex above the North Pole, trapping the cold air up there. But it's when the jet stream weakens, it still goes around the earth, but it's wavy, it goes up and down. And where it goes down, that cold air from the North Pole comes down, and that's where you get the winter storms and stuff. Where it goes up, that area is warm. And so if you have a strong jet stream, you won't have a winter storm. But it's when the jet stream weakens is where it then allows that cold air that's normally trapped at the North Pole to come down further south.
Well, you articulate in a manner that make professors jealous. No, you know, you certainly articulate what I could only wish I could. And the fact of the matter is that, well, you said it. One originates with nature. The other originates with man. And
that's the best easy difference, description of the difference between the two. If man doesn't have to be there for it to take place, then as nature does it on its own, it's science. If man has to be involved for it to happen in that particular way, then just like rocks can hit together and so forth, and you know, and birds can make chirp and make music of their own. But we're talking about the thing of man, the type that man does. Man has to be involved, and it won't happen in that fashion without man. That's the humanities. Yes. You know, as I said before, you know, everybody has talent. God gave everybody some talent. You know, I explain things well. You do things. The one you play music, I am terrible at that. You know, so we all bring to the table something that is beneficial. And what we need to be encouraging our children to do is find out what talent did God give and now develop it. You know, they have that thing, my talent, this parable. I for the longest I couldn't understand it, and I thought it was God being really mean. Why is he punishing the guy who has the least amount of talent? You know, but it's the fact that it wasn't about how much talent you have. It was about whether or not you developed it. And I did also realize that they were really talking about talent. I thought it was some money that back in the day they called talent. But they were really literally talking about talent, ability. And why the servant got punished that he didn't develop it. He was whining about, oh, other people got more than him. And so he buried it and didn't develop it. And that's what God gave you talent and wants you to develop them and not to be sitting there crying that somebody else got these talents and you didn't get those. You know, you got some that they didn't have. Develop those.
Well, I would like to include that temperature has a lot to do with how creative we are or not. In as much as, you know, the temperature will determine whether water becomes a solid or a gas. It is how we human beings decide to live according to the environment in which we live. If we're in the tropics, there are certain things that are, well, just more available to us than if we were living in a temperate zone.
And you're more prone to do. So we're not prone to have snowball fights.
Well, you see how we can articulate, beloved? You see that? You see that? That's
what me and my friends used to do when we went to the beaches. We would have sandball fights instead.
Well, there you are. But I certainly could wish and hope that maybe you could be a professor to produce a new crop of leaders for this. What is it called again? unincorporated territory of ours.
Well,
Because
hopefully I've already started, and in fact, even before I moved home, I have been creatively. This guy who first started out, I gave him his first. I was on a selection committee that I was leading, and I
Good.
gave him his first opportunity.
Very good.
And then I've been keeping track of him over the years, and he has become the president of 3 universities, moving up and now he's at the president of a major university in the States.
Very good.
So-
Very good.
so-
And we applaud that.
And I've told you before too that former UBI student that I was involved with, helping them, develop, and became the director of AI for all of the armed forces.
How about that? How about that?
So I may not be the leader, but I made, and so.
Well, don't stop.
You know,
Don't stop is all I can
that's
urge you.
not planning to.
Very good. Very good. Because
Yeah,
as you have seen and articulated, we need every bit of help we can get. We need every help.
definitely.
Yeah.
So I'm planting seeds, waiting to see how they sprout, and while continuing to plant more seeds, because you never know. A drought may hit, and the seeds you plant don't develop. So you keep planting.
Keep it up. I might be able to offer some natural fertilizer here and there.
Exactly. Exactly. You definitely do. Some people call it different things, but I don't call it fertilizer.
Okay, all right. Again, I leave the articulation to you. Thank you so very much. And hey, don't abandon us. We definitely are in need of your help.
No, I have no plans to let God changes my plans.
Very good.
Yeah. All right, thanks.
Thank you much. Thank you much. Take care of yourself. All right. And so, beloved, we maybe about 10 minutes or so left our last lap. And beloved, I hope it has been a revealing afternoon for you, because we try to enlighten the information that we were sharing with you by trying our best to get to the point that, beloved, the fact that people would like to say that there is no such thing as African humanities, that is a bold-faced lie. Everyone, every people, they have humanities just by living. Yes, just by living, you are producing humanities. And that's what it's about, how you live your life. Good afternoon to you.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Moore.
Welcome back, man.
I heard it, gentlemen, but I don't really agree with you to every extent. But let me ask you, let's deal with calendars, the making of calendars, right?
Uh-huh.
Everywhere it is a natural phenomenon, the movement of the planets and the sun, the moon rotates around the earth and the earth around the sun and so forth. So man developed a calendar, right?
Yeah, but it takes a lot of years to develop a calendar from scratch. In other words, when man developed the first calendar. It would have been after well, almost a millennium, a millennium, I should say, of observation.
What was the first calendar you are aware of?
Again, that would have
Okay,
been
okay,
sometime during the last ice age.
by whom?
Again, by African, the Anu people, A-N-U.
The who people?
Anu, A-N-U.
I am getting one. Spell it again.
A-N-U.
Anu.
Yes.
And that will be with the Anu for who is called Top. I know one of his name was A-N-N, or I should say A-N-U.
Yes.
That's what speaking of?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, well, their first calendar was the stellar. We're dealing with the what we call the dark star,
Right.
right?
Yes.
But that day was more correct following the dark star because that rotates about 1,400 and something years, and that will be equivalent to about one, that will be equivalent to 1 year, one basically solar year. But what I'm saying is, following the first time, man see this celestial body movement and man throughout, whether Mesopotamia, whether China, and also the Egyptian and etc. They create calendars, right?
Yeah.
But they have different, they divide the month, some of them divide the month differently. Ours don't divide into like 20, 30, 30, and 31, and also because of the not the complete circular orbit of the elongated orbit of the orbit of the earth around the sun. They will create like sometimes a month of 29 and sometimes a month of 30, right? So man developed this and the fit. Okay, as I was saying, the natural phenomenon, and then man basically analyze it and try to reduplicate it upon paper, right? That is a calendar. So yes, the natural phenomenon movement, man doesn't create that, but he kind of like observe it and try to basically reduplicate that upon his calendar. We'll be capturing all the quarters of the moon, etc. When they go, so I could look at a calendar for year, and I could look at the month of March, and I could tell you when the full moon, what day the full moon will fall.
Yeah.
Because man knows exactly the movement of those bodies.
Yes.
Well, that's what I am basically saying when I tell you about the music, our people, you a person who is not familiar with that. Once you write that music, the timing, you could take it to any musician as long as you could read music, he could reproduce that reality.
Yes.
In the same way with a calendar, I could take a calendar to 2026 and I could look in for June and I could tell you the precision and the scientific nicety that yes, the first quarter will be and this day in this month here. And God you consider that science?
Yes, because it took a human being, however far back you want to go, to discover it out of nature. The same evolution that you're talking about, those are natural things. Man had to discover it.
But also, Mr. The same principle goes for like what we call technique of skill. If you master something and you could reduplicate it
Yeah.
with a formula, that's
No.
Man created it. It is following the scientific principle. And I think that's where the blockage is. Because yes, nature is the ultimate fact that man duplicates and
Yeah.
try to replicate.
That's right.
But man could use the culture and your pattern for making cars. You could basically have a model of a car, you could duplicate that. It's the same principle, but just there's no car existed in nature. Man create a car, but he could also basically duplicate that car.
Yes, but that's why I'll take you right back to the point as to why I use the foundation of just 1 + 1 = 2. But again, man now could use that to end up with the most sophisticated mathematical equation that I myself couldn't even conceive of. But it comes from nature, and it comes from that same 1 + 1 = 2.
That same sophistication does not end. Well, my thing is like what was basically was debating with you and questioning is whether like it would have been natural for man to say the two rocks together and automatically say 1 rock plus 1 rock is 2.
Yeah.
That's the part one. I'm not clearly understanding that man down in his first reaction is 1 + 1 rock and another rock that he would have put up together and add like simply the 2. That came afterwards with the maturing of man's mind when reason started down upon man. But I know the name of the time. But everybody time coming close, so I thank you for the time. And
all right. Well, I thank you, and I said, don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on concepts that seem elusive. Stick with it, because hey, that is why man could always benefit from nature.
Yes, man is supreme, man ranks supreme over all other beings in terms of his intellect. So thank you for the attention.
And thank you for sharing. And so, beloved, what can we say other than that? Yes, there is such a concept as African humanities, because all human beings, we react to our circumstances and our upbringing. The thing is that we don't recognize that it is this simple formula that decides how a people is going to live with the environment. And beloved, it's a difficult equation to unravel, because beloved, it involves evolution through nature from again, the mere fact that we were conquered simply says that we had to come up with the resistance that would overcome that conquest. And so the long and short of it is still going to come back to the reality is that, humanities can be defined as the way we as human beings have decided to live with our natural environment. And so that the 1 + 1 = 2 is just the foundation of how we as human beings were able to derive our solutions from nature, because that's where they are. It's just for us to discover them. And yes, beloved, we had to discover, just like the Carla was pointing out, had to discover how a calendar could be made over hundreds and hundreds of years. Well, so the same, beloved. From 1 + 1 = 2, we learn that, yes, you know, there can be such a thing as algebra, calculus, trigonometry. Beloved, just please remember, it just doesn't matter how big a basket that they give us to fill. Hold straight and believe in yourself and know that 1 we could fill up that basket just as long as we do it together.